When I was in 6th grade, that was the first year of the Georgia Trapper Association's youth field trials in Swainsboro, and so I went down there, and I've been hooked ever since because I won that first year.
So you were in the 6th grade, and this was the first year that you participated in the youth field trials, and you happened to win it that year.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what you caught that year to win it?
So on the first night I caught a gray fox, and then on the second night I caught a black coyote. And
wow.
So that's what I caught that weekend, and it was a lot of fun.
Wow, and you were hooked right there. So,
Yes, sir.
So what happened after that when you're hooked? I mean, did you go back, and y'all grew up in Macon?
Yes, sir. Yeah, originally we started trapping here at the farm just because we weren't doing too much. We just trapped like Thanksgiving break or around Christmas or whenever we were off from school. And but over the years we started trapping in like Jones County at one of my brother's friends' hunting camps, and then from there we've gotten a couple different properties in the counties surrounding Macon, and then we'd always go back to the youth field trials, and then once we got old enough we'd start going to the adult field trials, and we go to the convention every year, the spring fling, and just started going to every event because Daddy became a director, and then he was the president, and then now I'm a director, so it's just been going ever since.
So you are a director for the Georgia Trapper Association?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long have you been doing that?
So I became a director at the convention this year in September.
You're also an adult state champion. Tell me, when was that, and tell me a little bit about that.
So in 2021, my second year of the adult competition, or the adult field trials, I was 17, and that it was in Ellaville, down near Americus, and I got a piece of property off of the main property, and I set it up. We have 12 traps each, and then I set it up. That first morning I caught a beaver and a gray fox, and then the second morning I ended up with 2 beavers, 2 bobcats, and a coyote. And so I had a total of 7 animals that weekend.
Did you like blow the competition? Well, that's a lot of animals.
Yeah, I won by over 100 points.
Wow.
And then in second place was Abigail Zerwig, and then behind her was Mr. Michael Turner.
So 17-year-old female state champion, beating all the older folks.
Yes, sir.
How'd that feel?
It was pretty good. Most of the time I'm aiming to beat Daddy and then my brothers and then Josh Hall. Those are the main people I want to beat. But it made it feel better when I was beating all the old guys, because these people because I'm the youngest, because Ethan's only a minute older than me, my twin, and then so I was the youngest, and then probably the oldest was in their 70s. So, and it's mainly guys, because me and Abby were the only 2 girls competing. So I go to Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, and I'm in the wildlife program down there, but I'm currently a sophomore. But so down there I'm in the Wildlife Society Club, I'm in the Forestry Club, and then I'm also extremely active in the local churches, and I'm an officer in our Baptist Collegiate Ministries at school, and then and we have meetings twice a week there, and then I also attend Northside Baptist Church's Collegiate Ministry, and then Mount Zion Baptist Collegiate Ministry in Chula, and then on Sundays I'm going to Northside. Hunting, I like it, but you have to be quiet and you have to be really patient and sit still. And I like to be I don't like to sit still. Trapping, you get to go, you set your traps, and you can make as much noise as you want, and it doesn't take too terribly long if you're like for each set, and you get to move around and drive around, and then you go home, go about your day, and then you come back in the morning, and it's like Christmas morning every time. because you're trying to go around the corners of the fields and the woods, and then you're trying to like lean over the dashboard or the steering wheel, and you can't see, but you're gonna try anyways. We do a lot of beaver trapping, and I like it. It's just I like to have variation, and that's one animal, and if there's otters, that's 2 animals. But land trapping, there's a lot more variety. My favorite is probably foxes, because I just don't catch as many of them, because most of the time I'm not in box heavy locations. But red foxes would probably be my favorite, even though I've only ever caught one, just because we haven't had the access to them. But I probably catch the most bobcats out of anything, and I do really enjoy those because they're pretty feisty. So my favorite bait for across the board land-wise is spiked mice by Southern Snares and Supply, but some other, just because it's one of the first things that I ever use, and I've caught a lot of animals on it. I use that in combination with Fox Frenzy, a lure by Mark June. That's my favorite combo. And then some other really good baits would be Lucky by Rusty Johnson. He's originally from Tula, but now he's out of Idaho. And then Widowmaker by Mark June is also really, really good.
You set 20-foot holds on your farm here in Jefferson County, and I did notice that, of course, your dad was with us and helped us, lug stuff around. But you're pretty, and you're obviously extremely effective by what you caught. But you're pretty basic on like the equipment that you tell me about that. We were talking about it yesterday.
So on every set, I have my kneeling pad, and then I have my trapping hammer. Then I have my driver to drive my earth anchors in the ground, and then a sifter to sift dirt, and then also recently we started using peat moss to keep the traps dry. So I have peat moss, and then a sifter for the peat moss, so I don't have to get rid of the dirt. And then also my trap. I use those on every single set, and I don't carry around a drill, because that's something you have to charge, and you have to remember to bring the battery and bring the drill and lug it around. And I don't use a trap and shovel because it just seems harder for me, and another thing you have to carry around. And so I just use my driver whenever I'm making dirt holes. I just hammer it in and wiggle it around to make however big a hole I want. And then for putting bait and lure in there, I use sticks, because they're cheap. They don't cost anything.
No sheep's wool, no polyfill under your trap. It's just, and again, I'm saying all this to say you're very effective, obviously, by just what you caught in 2 nights here at your farm. But that's interesting, because I use polyfill, I use sheep's wool, but you're like, hey, don't need it. And
yeah, so we used to use polyfill when we were setting traps. It's just, that's another thing you have to remember. And since we started using peat moss, that replaces the need for it. And then also for sheep's wool, I've just never used it. I'm sure it works great. It's just never something I've used, just because I haven't had it.
We were talking about this the other day. A lot of how you end up trapping really starts with who taught you a lot, right?
Right. So a lot of what I know is from the Georgia Trappers Association. Daddy taught me a lot of stuff, and then Josh Hall, he taught me a lot of stuff. Those are the 2 main guys that taught me most of what I know. I've picked up a couple things from other directors and other members here and there, because every time you watch a demonstration at one of these conventions or the spring fling we put on, you learn something new every time, no matter how long you've been trapping. So you just pick stuff up here and there.
Well, everybody traps different, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. That's what I love about trapping, because you do pick up a little here, a little there, and even you and your dad don't see eye to eye on.
Right. So Daddy, he likes to have his sets really blended in and look really natural, and I don't care too much if it's supernatural or not, because it catches just as well, and it's less steps. But also, and he uses a different trap than I do. I use MB 450s offsets, while he uses the slightly bigger version of the MB 550 offsets, just because I like the small feel of the trap, and they'll catch just as well as the 550s will. And then my brothers, they both trap differently than we do too. So it's just personal preferences.
Who's a better trapper, you or your brother?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You or your daddy?
I've won, he hasn't.
Hey, that plaque on the wall speaks for itself, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's good.
I was one of the youth trappers for a good many years, because I started doing that in 6th grade, and that is 15 and under. So I was in that for about 4 or 5 years, and then then when you turn 16, you have to go to the adult field trials, and because you can drive. So I started going to that. But at the youth one, even when I was done being able to trap in it, I wanted to come back as a guide, because it really is super impactful. Because probably without it, I wouldn't be anywhere near as active or know nearly as much as I do when it comes to trapping. And I wanted to carry that on for future generations, because it's so rewarding seeing these kids working so hard all weekend and then catching their first animal, whether it be a raccoon or a beaver. And this year even we had some coyotes and foxes, and we haven't had those in quite a while. And some of them will come year after year, and they don't catch something the first couple years, but they'll start catching. Like the girl who got first place this year, she's been in my group the past 3 years, or in my general group at least. And the first year she didn't catch anything. Last year she caught a raccoon, and this year she caught a possum, a raccoon, a beaver, and a coyote. So it really is great seeing their progression over the years. If anyone's really interested in getting into trapping, I definitely recommend going to the Georgia Trapper Association website or Facebook page, because we post about all of our events we have throughout the years. And but every year we have annual spring fling, where we'll have demonstrations, and it's more of a smaller event, and it changes all over the state. We have one a year, and then also our convention, where we'll have vendors that sell everything you need to start trapping: supplies, baits, lures, and all the knowledge you could ever need. And we also have demonstrations there. But I think that is the best way to get into it, because you'll get contacts and people that will share everything with you. Like there's very few secrets that people would hold back. So the convention is always in September.
September, that's right.
And then the spring fling, it varies a little bit at dates, but it's always in March or April.
Okay. Just go to GTA website, Facebook page, all that stuff. So.
Yes, sir.
Okay.